Think about a time you heard a piece of advice that just like clicked. You know that exact feeling.
Oh, absolutely. That moment of total relief.
Right. You're listening to a speaker, or maybe you're reading a book by some brilliant academic, and they say something that is so perfectly, precisely right that it feels like, I don't know, like a physical weight lifting off your chest.
Yeah, the clouds part, your brain lights up.
Exactly. And your immediate thought is always, wow, this person is an absolute genius. They have all the answers. I need to listen to literally everything they ever say from now on.
We have all been there. It's a very common reaction.
It really is. It is such a powerful, almost intoxicating feeling to be seen and understood by someone else's wisdom like that. But, and this is what we're getting into today, what if that feeling of finding the quote-unquote perfect guide is actually the first step into a very quiet, very subtle trap?
A trap that a lot of us don't even realize we're walking into.
Yeah. So, in today's deep dive, we are looking at this really fascinating philosophical text. It's titled Guidance, Authority, and Inner Alignment.
And our mission today is to explore this dangerously thin line, the line between being open to guidance
Yeah.
and, well, accidentally surrendering your own mind.
And I think it is a completely critical distinction to make right now, especially because of just the sheer volume of information we process every single day.
Oh, totally.
It's overwhelming.
Right. And we aren't just talking about, like, self-help gurus or life coaches here. We are talking about tech CEOs, highly credentialed scientists, best-selling authors, thought leaders.
Basically anyone with a microphone and a platform.
Exactly. In a world overflowing with established authority, how you process the advice you are given is basically the only thing protecting your intellectual independence.
Yeah,
I mean, we naturally crave certainty.
we really do.
And when an expert offers it to us on a silver platter, our instinct is to just consume the whole meal without ever, questioning the recipe.
Okay, let's unpack this because the text starts with a premise that really zeroes in on that exact instinct. It says that having gratitude toward guidance is totally natural. Like when something resonates deeply and brings you clarity, of course you want to thank the person or the book that provided it.
That's just being human.
Right. But the text warns that this gratitude can easily twist into what it calls a subtle distortion.
Yes, that phrase is so key.
It is. And that distortion happens when we attribute that newfound clarity entirely to the external authority rather than recognizing it within ourselves.
We give them all the power.
Exactly. We basically hand them all the credit for an aha moment that actually took place inside our own brains.
Right. And the reason this distortion is so dangerous is because it fundamentally alters your entire relationship with truth.
How so?
Well, the text makes a very bold argument right out of the gate. It states that no external source holds ultimate authority over what is true for an individual. None.
Wow. None at all.
None. Not the smartest philosopher, not the most successful entrepreneur, and not the most enlightened spiritual teacher.
That's a pretty sweeping statement.
It is. But when you experience that distortion you just mentioned, you create a hierarchy. You elevate someone else.
You place another person above yourself as a master.
Exactly. And by doing that, the text argues you physically displace the origin of truth. You literally take it out of your own lived experience and you hand the keys over to someone else.
Okay, I hear that, but let me push back on the reality of actually living that way.
Sure, go ahead.
Because honestly, isn't it just exhausting to try and figure everything out on our own?
It definitely can be.
Life is incredibly complicated. If someone has spent, say, 30 years studying neuroscience, or if a CEO has successfully navigated a massive market crash that my business is currently facing, why shouldn't I put them on a pedestal?
You're looking for a shortcut.
Yeah. It seems like cognitive offloading is just a smart survival mechanism. I mean, think about a GPS system in your car.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right, so I don't know the streets of a new city, but the GPS has the satellite data. I treat the GPS as the definitive authority on how to get to the coffee shop, because if I just consult my, inner truth, I am going to end up lost in a cul-de-sac.
Right, you'd be driving in circles.
Exactly. So why wouldn't I treat a mentor or a brilliant book the exact same way I treat the GPS?
Well, you're right that it is exhausting, and cognitive offloading is a very real survival mechanism. Like I said, we want shortcuts.
We desperately need them sometimes.
We do.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating here is how the text addresses exactly that kind of logic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The text doesn't fault you for wanting a guide. And it certainly doesn't say that mentors or data don't have highly valuable information.
Okay, so it's not anti-expert.
Not at all. What points out is a flaw in how we assign that value.
Yeah.
The text explicitly states that even the most accurate guidance is not valuable because of who delivers it.
Wait, it's not about their credentials?
No, its value only exists if, and I'm quoting the text directly here, aligns, coheres, and holds up under direct experience.
Okay, so sticking with the GPS analogy.
Yes, let's look at the GPS. The danger isn't in turning on the GPS. The danger is externalizing the truth to the point where you pretend the machine knows the destination better than the driver who is actually sitting behind the wheel.
Oh, like when the GPS tells you to turn right, but your own eyes can clearly see that the road is closed?
Right, or there's construction.
Yeah, and turning right will drive you directly into a lake.
Precisely. If you have elevated the GPS to the status of a master, if you have displaced your own origin of truth, you will drive into the lake.
Because I've stopped trusting my own eyes.
Exactly. Because you have decided the machine is inherently right, and your own direct experience of seeing the water is somehow flawed.
Wow, that's wild when you frame it like that.
The text is warning us against assuming that a person or a source inherently knows what is right just because of their position, their credentials, or even their past accuracy.
So the value of their guidance has to be continually tested against reality.
Yes. The moment you stop testing it and just start blindly swallowing it, you've fallen into the trap.
Okay, that reframes things significantly, but it leaves a pretty massive hole in the equation, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if we are supposed to strip away this hierarchy, and we realize that the expert or the book isn't the actual source of truth, what exactly are they doing for us?
Ah, right.
Like, if they aren't handing us the truth from on high, what is the actual function of a guide?
The text actually offers a central metaphor to answer this, and it's one that completely shifts the paradigm.
I love a good metaphor. Lay it on me.
It states that the role of guidance is not to lead in place of the self, but to act as a mirror.
A mirror. Okay.
Yeah. Think about the physical properties of a literal mirror. A mirror does not create the image it shows you.
Right, it doesn't have an image of its own.
Exactly. It has no image of its own. It merely reveals what is already there, standing in front of it.
So it's just reflecting reality.
Yes. Sometimes a really high-quality mirror will show you that image in a clearer or more stable form than you could perceive otherwise, but it is never generating the reality. It is only ever reflecting it.
Okay, I see where the text is going with this. If you look in a bathroom mirror and realize your shirt is on inside out, you don't, like, fall to your knees and worship the glass for giving you a brand new reality.
No, you definitely don't.
You just thank it for showing you what was already happening. The truth was your shirt was inside out. The mirror just provided the perspective.
That's a great way to put it.
But let me challenge that metaphor a bit. What if the mirror is warped?
Like a funhouse mirror.
Exactly, like a funhouse mirror. If a brilliant author is reflecting my truth back to me, but they have their own biases, their own blind spots, or their own hidden agenda, aren't they distorting my reflection?
They absolutely can.
So how do I trust the mirror?
Well, that is exactly why the text insists you must never view the mirror as a master.
Oh, because if I do...
If you view a funhouse mirror as the ultimate authority, you will look at your warped, stretched-out reflection and believe, wow, I guess my arms really are 10 feet long.
I would literally shrink my own agency to match the distortion.
Exactly. You abandon your own reality.
Yeah.
But when you remember that it is just a mirror, you retain your autonomy.
I can just step back.
Right. You step back, look at the wavy glass, and say, well, that's an interesting perspective, but that's not my actual shape.
I am the subject. They are simply the reflective surface helping me examine myself.
This completely changes the power dynamic. It allows you to receive immense benefit from someone's guidance, recognizing where the reflection is clear and where it's distorted, without ever sacrificing your own authority.
You know, that takes a huge amount of pressure off the guide, too.
It really does.
They don't have to be infallible gods. They just have to be surfaces we use to see ourselves.
Which is a much healthier relationship.
But this brings up the mechanics of how we actually do this. Because if guidance is just a mirror reflecting our truth back to us, we need to understand the anatomy of that truth.
Right. What makes it true for us?
Yeah. Why do certain reflections make total sense to us while others just bounce right off? The text talks a lot about resonance here, right?
It does. It says that when something feels true, it is not because it was said by another person. It is because it resonates with an existing structure within.
An existing structure.
Yes. And I think we can actually move past the mirror metaphor for a second and look at the physics of sound. to really grasp this.
Okay, physics of sound, I'm with you.
Think of resonance like tuning a musical instrument.
Mhm.
If you have a guitar and someone across the room strikes a tuning fork tuned to an A note, the A string on your guitar will actually begin to vibrate on its own.
Oh, wow. It just vibrates by itself.
Yes, it resonates. But it only vibrates because the string was already pulled to the correct tension.
Oh, I see.
The external sound didn't create the note, it just activated a structure that was already built into the guitar.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
The text is applying this directly to your intellect. When you hear a profound piece of advice and you get that massive aha moment, the external words have simply matched the natural frequency of an internal understanding you already possessed.
So the guide didn't give me the understanding, the guide just rang the tuning fork.
Exactly.
Okay, and this is a but how do we know we are actually recognizing our true internal structure and not just falling headfirst into confirmation bias?
Ah, the confirmation bias trap.
Yeah, because human beings are incredibly good at hearing exactly what they want to hear.
We really are.
If my internal structure is just a bunch of bad habits and prejudices, and I only seek out advice that tells me I'm perfectly right all the time, aren't I just using resonance as an excuse to never grow?
That's a very valid concern.
How do we tell the difference between true internal alignment and just a comfortable echoing lie?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text actually provides the safeguard against exactly what you're describing.
Okay, good. What's the safeguard?
Confirmation bias is passive. It's that lazy, comfortable feeling of, ah, yes, this agrees with what I already want to do.
All right, it takes no effort.
But the text does not say we should blindly trust a fleeting feeling. It specifically says we must trust our capacity to recognize coherence, alignment, and internal consistency.
Coherence, alignment, and internal consistency.
Yes. Those are not passive feelings. They're active, rigorous criteria that you have to apply.
Let's make that concrete.
Yeah,
Because those three words can sound a bit academic.
sure, let's ground it.
Walk me through exactly how that works in practice. Let's take a really common piece of advice, the whole 5 a.m. hustle culture thing.
Oh, the 5 a.m. club.
Classic. Right. So you read a book by a billionaire CEO who says, to be successful, you must wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and immediately start working.
People love that advice.
A lot of people hear that, feel a surge of motivation, and just assume it's the ultimate truth. How do I rigorously test that against those three criteria?
That's a perfect example. Let's run it through the filter. First, coherence. Does it logically fit together?
Okay.
Well, the CEO claims waking up at 5 a.m. equals success. But logically, does just being awake earlier generate better ideas, or does it just make you tired earlier in the afternoon?
Right. You have to question the logic of the claim itself.
Exactly. Second, alignment. Does it match your core values and observable reality?
Now the eyes got it.
Maybe your core value is having a sustainable, healthy life, not just accumulating wealth at the cost of sleep. If the advice demands you sacrifice your health, it is out of alignment with your foundational values.
And then the third one, internal consistency. That means, does it contradict other known truths you've established through your own lived experience?
Exactly.
So for me, my lived experience is that my brain is completely useless before 8 a.m.
Same here, honestly.
Right. But I do my best, most creative writing at 10 p.m. So the 5 a.m. rule directly contradicts the undeniable data of my own life.
Exactly. By actively checking the advice against coherence, alignment, and internal consistency, you realize that the billionaire's advice might be true for them, but it is not a universal law for you.
That makes so much sense.
True resonance isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling of motivation. In fact, true resonance is often deeply uncomfortable because a clear mirror might show you a truth about yourself you've been avoiding.
Wow.
When the text says the internal structure is the reference point, it means a structure built on the hard bedrock of direct examined experience. You aren't just saying, the billionaire said it, so it's true. You are doing the math for yourself.
So the burden is entirely on us.
It is.
It's the difference between feeling validated and feeling illuminated. Validation just strokes your ego, which is what confirmation bias does.
Right.
But illumination actually turns the lights on, even if it reveals a huge mess you now have to clean up.
That is a perfect way to summarize it.
Yeah.
And that active, rigorous process leads directly into the text's conclusion regarding how we should practically live this out.
Because once you understand all this, it changes everything.
It does. Because once you understand the mechanics of inner alignment, and you understand that guides are just mirrors or tuning forks, it fundamentally redefines your relationship with everyone you learn from.
It has to.
The text argues that the healthiest dynamic is not one of follower and master. It is a dynamic of interaction and refinement.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because when you shift to interaction and refinement, you completely change what advice even is.
It implies a two-way street.
Yeah. The guidance isn't an absolute, immovable edict carved in stone. You are downgrading external input from being a replacement for self-knowing to simply being a tool.
Just a tool.
It goes from being the architect of your life to just being like a hammer in your toolbox.
It is a profound downgrade of authority, but a massive upgrade in utility.
Ooh, I like that.
The text explicitly says that guidance can be accepted, questioned, reshaped, or completely rejected, depending entirely on whether it holds up under your own awareness.
Going back to the billionaire CEO example,
Right. Let's look at that again.
yeah. Maybe you reject the 5 a.m. wake-up time because it lacks internal consistency for you, but maybe the CEO also advised dedicating the first hour of your workday to deep, uninterrupted focus.
No emails, no phone.
Exactly. You run
Well,
that through the filter, it aligns with your values, it coheres logically, and it matches your experience of how good work gets done.
so you keep that part.
Yeah, you take that piece, reshape it to fit your 9 a.m. schedule, and use it. You are interacting with the advice, refining it, and building your own structure.
You aren't desperately searching for the next book or the next speaker to hand you a finished blueprint for how to live.
No, not at all.
You are just looking for better tools, better materials to help you build the life you already know you need to build.
That is so empowering.
It really is. And this raises an important question, and it's one I'd love for you, listening right now, to ask yourself.
Go for it.
How often do you accept a tool as an unquestionable rule? How often do you pick up a hammer and suddenly believe the hammer is in charge of the blueprint?
Oh, man, we do that all the time.
We do it in corporate settings when we blindly adopt a new management trend. We do it in our personal lives when we follow a rigid diet just because some influencer swore by it.
Totally.
The ultimate promise of this text is that when you interact with guidance as a tool for refinement, rather than a rule for compliance, two beautiful things happen.
What are they?
First, as the text says, clarity remains grounded. Your understanding of the world stays rooted in your own real, messy, lived experience, not in abstract theories handed down from above.
Grounded clarity. I love that. And the second?
Second, authority remains internal. You never give away the steering wheel. You navigate the world with the quiet confidence of someone who knows how to read their own compass.
You know, it almost sounds paradoxical.
How so?
To get the absolute most out of great teachers, great scientists, and great mentors, you have to stop treating them like great masters and start treating them like great mirrors.
It is a bit of a paradox.
You have to realize that the aha moment you feel isn't them giving you something brand new. It's them finally introducing you to a truth you already possessed, but maybe just hadn't articulated yet.
It is a paradox, but it's a necessary one for intellectual maturity.
That makes sense.
A child looks for a master to tell them what the rules of the world are. A mature adult looks for a mirror to help them refine the principles they are actively discovering through lived experience.
They're doing the work themselves.
Exactly. The text is ultimately a call to take on the heavy, glorious responsibility of being the final arbiter of what is true in your own life.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring all these threads together.
Sounds good.
We started by looking at that intoxicating feeling of finding perfect advice and how easily our natural gratitude can warp into a distortion where we, surrender our own mind to a guru, a CEO, or an author.
The master trap.
Right. We unpacked the danger of that trap, realizing that no external source, no matter how brilliant or credentialed, holds ultimate authority over your lived truth.
None at all.
Then we explored the metaphor of the mirror. The idea that guides don't give us truth, they merely reflect and clarify the truth already existing within us. And sometimes we really have to watch out for the funhouse mirrors that distort our reality.
Always test the mirror.
Exactly. We challenged ourselves to recognize the rigorous internal structure of resonance, ensuring we don't fall for comfortable confirmation bias, but instead demand coherence, alignment, and internal consistency.
The active filter.
And finally, we redefined the whole dynamic, stepping out of the role of passive followers and into the active role of refiners, treating all external guidance not as a replacement for our own self-knowing, but as a really powerful tool in our belt.
Well said.
The guide is the mirror, but you are the source.
And that leaves us with a profound realization.
What is that?
If every great teacher you've ever admired, every brilliant book you've ever highlighted, and every piece of profound guidance you've ever received was ultimately just a mirror or a tuning fork reflecting your own inner structure, what happens to your potential, when you finally stop staring at the mirrors and start looking directly at yourself.
That is exactly the thought to carry with you today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this empowers you to use those mirrors wisely, to trust the rigorous math of your own internal alignment, and to never let the GPS drive you into the lake. Keep testing the guidance, keep refining your truth, and we will catch you next time. Take care.